Well, here we are. This thing actually focusing on me. I'm doing a lot of things at once right now. Okay. This is a follow-up. It's a CAM-H, a mental health checkup. Now, I have not been doing these on a regular basis, but this certainly follows swift on the heels of one that I did just the other day. And I'm doing one again because I think it's important to keep an audience apprised with how things are going. Well, for the past, sure you can hear that, there's always construction and renovations going on in my building. Yes, back to issues concerning mental health. I was afflicted by a severe staph infection. Now, usually these pass in, a couple of weeks, but mine has persisted. But it's well in hand. I am on antibiotics, but apart from the fact that I do seem to be revealing a speech impediment that I thought was part of my past. But I am a stammerer. I'm just like Emperor Claudius. Now, the one advantage to being a stammerer that suppresses the stammer is that you can stammer at will. So I could do a performance of Shakespeare playing Emperor Claudius quite convincingly because I would just relax and stammer and it would come out. And there's no faking it. Of that you can be sure. Nonetheless, I do not intend to break out into stammering just as an exercise. There's no point. What I do want to tell you is that for the first time in a long time, I'm truly energetic. That is to say, I'm gaining weight rapidly, and my staph infection is on the run, and the antibiotics don't seem to be interfering with my ability to move around. I can walk quite freely, and I really started to notice this yesterday, and so I immediately began to do hard physical labor because I have a lot of catch-up to do, as you can well imagine. I've got a studio downstairs that is functional, but only in a very limited way, and I do want to get on with the business of recording at least a dozen songs, none of which are mine. These are all covers of other people's music, and I want to do it as a tribute, and I have the voice for it, you see. I didn't for years, but my voice has returned, and I intend to use it in all of its glory, in all of its range. Now, you may not know this about me, but my voice never broke. It never went, ha ha, or yeah, I can't sing, but I have a very low voice. Very low. Oh, yes, can I go even lower than that? Probably, but why bother? But I also have a very high voice, and I can go from a full-on voice, that is literally, I can belt out high notes. Without much difficulty, I can switch from that very readily into a falsetto and extend it. Like Freddie Mercury used to do, something like that. Now, there's no proving it. You merely need to go listen to the music that I've recorded over the years, and I've always used my voice in, to its maximum effect, and I intend to do so again. Most specifically by honoring the music composers and artists by mimicking them as closely as possible. And yeah, I can do that. I can do a Kevin Ayers. I just came in off the street, looking for somewhere to eat. J'ai vu un petit café avec un fille dedans, et je lui disais, puis-je m'asseoir près de toi pour te regarder. J'aimerais l'accompagner de ton soleil. That's a very nice thing to say to a young woman, by the way. May I sit and stare at you for a while? I'd like the company of your smile. So who else have we got on the list? Well, there's Paul McCartney, naturally. And there's a song that I've always loved of his that no one else seems to care about, and it's called Single Pigeon. Through single pigeon, through the railing, did she throw you out? A Sunday morning fight about Saturday night. Do 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 do. A single seagull gliding over Regent's Park Canal. Do you need a pal for a minute or two? You do, me too. I'm a lot like you. Well, there's a blow there. I'd have to redo that, or would I? I'm kind of lazy, so, you know, whatever. Who else? Robert Wyatt? Maybe. How about Andrew Partridge? Andy Partridge. I'm not going to do Throbbing Gristle, although I could. But Andrew Partridge. Let's see. Oh, Lady Bird, I have heard you wish to walk into my garden. Oh, only we cannot love you without thinking, Lady Bird. Or how about something from English Crossing that always scandalized me about Partridge, not to mention his stuff that he did on the side, the kaleidoscope stuff. Kaleidoscope. Da, 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 da. Blah 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 blue 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 blue. Okay, so I forget the words to that one, but you get the song, right? Hey, wakey wakey little sleepy, if you got the number then I got the dream, yeah. Who writes stuff like that? Andrew Partridge. And he's got this one song, it's all about being on the dole, you know what I mean? What a wonderful life it is, looking at the ground for the jobs that don't exist. And, you know, I mean, he's sympathetic, right? But he's not poor. You know, XTC was a smash. These Simple Minds. Reel to reel cacophony, endless echoes endlessly. That's not a very good Jim Carrey. I can't do Jim Carrey. Well, I could, but, you know, not without being a real fake. So who can I do? Louis Fury. I began my singing by singing Louis Fury, and the only reason why Louis Fury tolerated me was that Stephen Lack had the hots for me, and so Louis Fury by extension had to tolerate my presence because Stephen was so, come on man, look at him, look at his body. I had a spectacular body and I didn't mind showing it. I was a bit bisexual. at that time, and I was attracted to attractive men, and I was really wildly attracted to Louis Fury, who I got to know in 1979 on the set of a movie called Fantastica, which I participated in. I was straight out of the army with short hair. It was kind of amusing. But I did take photographs of Louis, which are published by someone who found them, and he said, "Can I publish them?" And I said, "Of course." So they're on there, and he did give me a photo credit, but I still have the photographs of him. They're just sitting, you know, Louis Fury sitting at his piano, kind of staring off into nothing, but boy, what a handsome nothingness he was staring into. Which is to say, he was probably thinking about himself and his beautiful wife, Carole, and they made a spectacular, beautiful daughter, Clara, who would have been a perfect wife for me, I think, but, you know, our paths never crossed. But she is a performance artist, and she's out there, and you know, she's not that old, she's the right age. But I digress. Louis Fury. Oh, a song that no one's heard of, but the thing is I probably don't remember the lyrics, so I'll skip it. I'll just sing Ordinary Guy. I'm just an ordinary guy. Sometimes I like to watch the time slip by, sniffing coke, maybe get a little high, watching the sunlight in my baby's eyes. But sleeping dogs aren't left to die. Sometimes they say rock singers should fly. I tell you, I've got this kind of crazy thing. I'm 27, I'm wondering, what is the sting? I can play on my piano, I can even make it sing. It feels a little better, I tell you, when I sing. Oh, what a crazy game, this thing. The more you bring, the more you're expected to bring. Now that's not Louis Fury's song, that's Robert Charlebois who sang it in French. Louis transcribed it into English rather effectively. You really wouldn't know until you heard Charlebois singing it. Oh yes, okay. He's doing the same thing but in an eloquent way in French. Well, Fury transcribed it so eloquently that he made it his own. Now, what is it about the age 27? So many stars didn't make it past their 27th birthday. Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin. The list goes on. Amy Newhouse, 27. I don't remember my 27th year as being particularly remarkable. It was 1989, and I think I was just kind of blowing off my master's degree, doing the least amount of work possible, because I was making so much money as a teaching assistant that I figured, I could just ride out this degree, write some crappy thesis at the end, put up so much convoluted math and physics in it that no one will understand it, and walk away with this crappy degree that is worth absolutely nothing to me. The only thing on my master's degree that means anything is that Oscar Peterson was the chancellor when I graduated, so Oscar Peterson's signature is affixed to my diploma, which I think is rather cool, because I do play the piano. Now, mind you, I'm no no Diana Krall or anything like that. Musically, I think I would really hit it off with Elvis Costello, but his wife Diana would scare me. I'd say, please, Diana, don't make me play the piano. I'm barely better than Columbo playing uh, his this old man, he made three, he made knick-knack with my pea and a knick-knack, back wiggy ba ba bum. This old man came rolling home. You know, the Columbo song that he liked so much. And I'd say, well, that's about all I could do, which would be a fabrication. Because, I may not be a great master at playing chords, but I know exactly how to time them. So I can play a group of chords in exact time, and I don't have to fill all the spaces in between. I can certainly do that, but not much more. So I say, come on, Diana, you're the star here. You whip up something, or just improvise. As I belt out some Betty Davis song, in tribute. I'm grand. I'll put on a wig. I'll really kind of jazz it up. I'll go full transvestite on you and do it. Believe me, I have the face for it. Or I certainly did. I don't know, do I? Could I pull it off? That's a very good question. And I don't have a very good answer. But all I can tell you is that, in summary, the staph infection really looks to be gone. I mean, it's still there. My legs look like shit. But it's not affecting me. Cognitively, I'm still kind of dicey with my medication routine. I haven't decided yet on how to approach divalproics. But clonazepam? Yeah, it's starting to work again. I got a solid 5 hours sleep last night, and I awoke completely refreshed and immediately determined to scrub the floors in my upstairs studio. I'm thinking, well, I should tell you that my floors are spotless. I clean them every day, but I don't use any special cleaning fluid. I just use water and, scrubbing, polishing up the dirt. You really don't need to use cleaning solvents, and you shouldn't. Just use water and elbow grease, and you'll get that grime out. You'll leave it with the polish, trust me, with no special ingredients required. You're saving money, and you're also protecting your health. Now, me in protection of health, how the hell did you get this staph infection, Charles? Opportunistic infection, admittedly, but underlying condition existed. Right? I've hinted at this before. The reason why I'm having so much trouble shaking this staph infection isn't the staph infection, it's the underlying problem. And I have alluded to that, and I will say one word: eptify. Yeah. You pay for it in the end. As it turns out, I'm making the most of this. I am becoming reborn, and in honor of this being March 11th and it being Madison Bridges' birthday, and she is certainly the queen of being reborn, and I hope she rebirths herself soon into her spectacularly beautiful personality that she is. I am going to do something. I'm going to do a trick. I don't want to be 62, but I don't even want to be 40. I don't think I could pass for 30, but I look at some 30-year-old people and I'm really not sure. Now, I can't do anything about this, but believe me, when I worked at Polygram in the 80s, I had these big circles under my eyes, and so did Roman, and what do you expect? We'd arrive at the office at 7 o'clock in time for the trucks, right? That was our job. My fundamental job was logistics, so I was there when the trucks arrived and was there when the trucks left. So it was a long day. Now, we were both paid for our efforts. We received salaries in excess of the standard, which is good because I had an expensive lifestyle, big apartment, always building specialized equipment for my studio. Um, but there was no way that I was going to be able to do this job. What was I going to do? Fake it? And so I said to Roman, look, you know I've got your back, that I am here running interference for you, and I did. Basically, we were the distribution team. But I was more than that. I worked in production. I had an oversight to just about anything that went on. And I spent a lot of time in the mezzanine, way out back in the warehouse. Boy, was I surprised to discover that there were a bunch of computer programmers that did nothing but write the next operating system for the Polygram group of companies. This is where the operating systems for all of the companies were developed, and always had been. Don't ask me why, but it started in 1964. And by this time, those programmers are pretty relaxed. There's about a half a dozen of them, and they've turned this mezzanine into a kind of comfy zone, with its own sound system and everything, and a huge collection of records. All, polygram records, of course. But not exclusively, because we had very favorable exchange arrangements, primarily with Warner's. So anything they wanted, they got, and anything that we wanted, we got, and there was no money that changed place, just unit for unit. And, I was on the internal samples lists, so I didn't get anything like a classical import I would not get, right? So, no, didn't get those, but the vice president of classical was dumping classical music on me left, right, and center. Asking me for my opinion when he discovered that I had some interest in classical music. So here we are going along, and I've got this huge collection of records on internal sample that I haven't even brought home yet, at least 100. And I'm thinking, man, what am I going to do with this stuff? This is all marching band music, Arthur Fielder and the Boston Pops, and all the kind of the low grades, the low grade stuff, the stuff that we had Sinram press records for. And I don't want to bring this stuff home, but I did eventually lug it home over the course of a week or so. It was records. 50 records weighs 25 pounds. Weighs exactly 0.52 of a pound. How do I know that? Well, I guess. Which is pretty heavy. So I've got this massive record collection, and this is all you can see, because I've got boxes and boxes and boxes full of records, but there's only so much that I'm going to put out. So I've got all of my pop music and then a very small selection of classical down there, and I just chose some box sets and just all for show. Hardly listen to them, and I have a large collection of classical CDs which I never listen to. I'll listen to my pop CDs, but as far as music goes, I'm plugged into the CBC. I listen to CBC music all the time. I know the hosts. Well, not personally, but you listen to them long enough and you develop a sense of exactly what type of person they are. But the magic of the CBC, and you see, I discovered this because, there are times when, for days on end, I'll be wide awake. Sometimes busy at work writing, a technical paper on something or other, or sometimes doing photo editing work. Good time to do it just late at night, no distractions. But during the day, it's office hours. I have to be here in this studio, ready to answer this phone and also to take deliveries, which I get on a regular basis. So I'm a prisoner of this office at the moment, but it's a very comfortable prison. And if you were to see Studio D, you'd shake your head. I have people in my family who say, well, why do you live downstairs? And I said, no, I'm really never going to do that. But it is set up for guests, and I do intend to have people visit. And there's nothing better than having visitors and being able to close the door and walk away. Sorry. I gotta start thinking about how I'm going to wrap this up, because I don't intend to edit this video. It's going straight to YouTube, which has been my style. And I am admittedly a Canon aficionado, but I have discovered this Sony here is the perfect video vlogging instrument. I mean, I just love the way it works. I can see myself right on screen, well, not really very closely, but you can go up close to me. I can see I'm perfectly in focus, quite detailed. I don't know, look up out. Be serious. Yeah, stop being vain, which would be good advice to myself. Don't ask for your audience to tell you that you look good. Who cares? It's like Fred Astaire. He had no hair because he used Nair. But the truth is, I think he liked the hairless body look. Now, I don't have to do anything to basically have that look. I've got less body hair than the average woman. I've got no hair anyway. No hair. No hair on my legs. I've got less body hair than the average woman by a mile. Oh, for me to have done what I really wanted to do when I was younger, which was undergo a sex change and become a woman. I would have been an awfully tall one, but, you know, very slender and very attractive. I've got a fantastic androgynous body, right? But when I bulk out, and I intend to, because, you know, I've got some hard physical labor in my future, it doesn't look that way anymore. I'll look very much like a man, and I am a man who has yet to do his family duty. And because my brother had his vasectomy, he's out of the equation. How could you do that to me? You don't know the half of it, and I'm not about to reveal the half of it, because there's the half of it that I cannot. But there is a half, believe me. You know, there's the renegade guy who the cops would love to do nothing more than put in handcuffs and bust for the sake of saying, I busted him, right? And so, you know, I am a jailbird. I have a criminal record for weed. Smoke 'em weed, right? Okay. Down to the last 2 minutes. What is it going to say? Absolutely nothing. No. General advice. This is advice that I would give to you if you are truly a God-loving person. And I'm not saying a God-fearing person, because why would you want to fear God? Love God. But remember, God listens to you, and thoughts are important. I believe I've mentioned this to you before, but I'm going to stress it again, and it is good mental health advice. It is a good practice for people who have mental health issues to be rigorous about their mental hygiene. That is to say, if you become manic, suppress it. Listen to your voice in your head that tells you, don't do that. It's a stupid idea. That voice will be there. That voice is your Godhead. Listen. Develop an understanding, and your life will be better for it. And as we say in French, bonjour, la visite.